Bryan Fischer thinks that the Constitution only applies to Christians. Is he insane? Wait, don't answer that. I've talked about some well-known religious apologists in recent weeks, from William Lane Craig to Frank Turek, so it's time to take a look at another one that pops up from time to time, that being Bryan Fischer. Like the rest, Fischer lives in his own little religious fantasy world where facts don't matter and emotions are king. But Fischer has some bizarre political ideas that simply do not match up with reality. So let's take a look at a short clip from his Christian radio show Focal Point as we learn why Bryan Fischer is an idiot.
Just want to finish up on our conversation about whether Wiccans, that is, worshipers of the devil...
That's not what Wiccans are. Most Wiccans, and I can only really generalize here, but most Wiccans are nature worshippers, not devil worshippers. In fact, most that I know of don't believe the Christian devil exists. So you're not off to a good start here, are you, Bryan?
Followers of witchcraft, whether they have First Amendment rights under our Constitution.
Everyone has First Amendment rights under the Constitution. Everyone. Even people who aren't in the country legally or who are not citizens. So you're wrong, no matter where you go from here.
And the answer is that they do not.
How in the world do you justify this one? This ought to be good.
The blunt, simple, direct, straightforward answer is that Wiccans do not have First Amendment rights, nor do Muslims, nor do Jews, nor do Native Americans, nor do Rastafarians, nor do any practitioners of any other religion other than Christianity.
All of which is false. But I just wanted to point out something here. He throws in Native Americans, which is an ethnic group, not a religious group. Does he think that there are no Native American Christians out there? Because this kind of leads me to believe that Bryan Fischer might be, and I stress might be, a bit racist. Let's be honest, would anybody be surprised?
Because Joseph, and again, I'm just quoting Joseph's story, so this is not my idea.
That doesn't make it a credible idea. This is yet another appeal to authority without showing that the authority had it right. But please, continue with your stupidity.
I didn't come up with this idea. This is Joseph's story, the eminent historian of the First Amendment and the Constitution. Look what the Founding Fathers were driving at here in the First Amendment. They weren't even considering Islam. They weren't even considering Judaism. They weren't even considering Native American religions. All they were dealing with, all they were considering was Christianity.
And that's because Christianity was commonplace. But if they had only intended it to apply to Christianity, then they would have put that into the Constitution, which, if you notice, they didn't. It isn't like these other religions weren't out there, that they weren't well known, or that the Founding Fathers had no idea that any religion except for Christianity existed. If they had meant the Constitution to apply only to Christians, they would have said so.
So whatever the First Amendment is about, whatever protections it extends in the federal Constitution, those were just for Christianity.
Let's see you get that one past the Supreme Court. That would be fun to watch. He's not only wrong, he's fractally wrong. He's not even in the same time zone as the truth. He's not even in the same galaxy as the truth. But this is really common among the delusional. They've got idiotic beliefs, and then they desperately try to find someone else that agrees with them, or that can be twisted to agree with them. Then they say, well, see, I was right all along. Never mind that they're totally, completely, and absurdly wrong. Truth doesn't matter to the fanatic.
So Christianity has First Amendment rights under the federal Constitution. No other religion does.
It doesn't matter how much you say it. That doesn't make it true. And the Supreme Court has already ruled on this, and you're just wrong. Many, many times wrong. Atheists, at least for the sake of constitutionally guaranteed rights, count as a religion, and we have every bit the same rights as Christians do. Of course, this whole thing is silly when you look at it, and it betrays the abject terror that the ultra-religious Christians have. They have lost their social and political power, and they're desperate to get it back. Honesty means nothing to them. Now, maybe they're not smart enough to know any better. Maybe they just got really bad advice, but they certainly don't care enough to find out if they're right any more than they are with their religious views. It feels good to believe obviously nonsensical garbage, hence they cling to it and nothing will ever make them change their minds. And people like Bryan Fischer are leading the charge into insanity. He neither knows what he's talking about nor cares, but he can con a bunch of gullible religious wingnuts into believing him, and that's why he's got a following. This is why it's so important that people speak out against this religious, political, and social irrationality. We have to open our mouths and tell him and people like him that he's wrong. So stand with me in my eternal fight against irrationality. It's the only way forward into a bright future.